Hey everybody. Hello you cool cats and kittens, as Carol Baskin is known to say. I am now, we are now live. Hi everybody. This is Duke. I am Duke Mason, and this is the first episode of my new Instagram live show, Duke's Download. The title was inspired by a segment on Meet the Press called Data Download. I used to have a blog called The Daily Duke, but obviously that wouldn't work for this. So I was just trying to come up with a title, and I thought that made sense. But yeah, I've always wanted to do an interview type show. Oh my God, we have 90 people on already. But I've always wanted to do an interview show. And, as most of you know, or some of you know, I'm obsessed with politics. That's been my lifelong passion. I also just love pop culture. Obviously, having grown up in an entertainment family, I love film, I love music. So, I thought that given everything that's going on in the world, that this would be a good time to finally make a move and bring this idea that I've had for a long time now to fruition. So, I already have a big list of guests, potential guests, people from politics, pop culture, gay activists, politicians, all sorts of different kinds of people. But I thought, of course, that it would make the most sense for the first guest to be my mother, who obviously, I'm assuming almost all of you know, is Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's, or as to me, known as Mom. But I am now going to try to patch her in, so bear with me as I do this. Give me 1 second. She is in Bangkok, Thailand, which is where my parents... I think it's calling her right now, so this should work.
Here I am.
Hi.
Hi. Yay. I'm surprised
Belinda
I was actually
Carlisle.
able to do this.
All right. Can you hear me? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're going to have to yell because I'm hard of hearing, as you know.
The connection's good, actually. I can see you and hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I put my makeup on for the first time in 3 weeks.
Oh my God. What are you doing today? Why did you get, well, I know you got dressed up for this, but other than this, you basically just been...
Oh, I'm going to the supermarket. I'm going to read. I'm watching movies. Talking to friends using this time. Huh?
I know a lot of people have asked me like how you guys are doing and what the situation is like there, because I know at first they were kind of going more light than they are here in terms of like the lockdown, but now you guys are pretty much the same in Thailand as the kids, right?
Yes, we're pretty much in lockdown. Everything's closed except for supermarkets and pharmacies. The one saving grace is we have the park next door, which is open at 5 in the morning. So as you go in through the gates, they take your temperature to make sure you're not sick. And actually, when you go into big buildings, like to go to the supermarket, they'd have body scanners so they can scan everybody for who has a temperature. And there's actually another thing that you can walk through, which is like a nano sanitizer, which I don't know what that means, but you walk through it, and supposedly that sprays and disinfects all the cooties. So
how does the temperature thing work? Like, is it like they put it on your forehead?
Yeah, you just put it on your forehead, and it's like instantly takes your temperature. So, and they show you your temperature, and then they put a little sticker on you that shows that you have had your temperature taken, and you can go into the park, or you go into the grocery store. When you go into the grocery store, it's mandatory that you wear a mask now.
It's mandatory. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Which I think is good. So they have street vendors who were selling masks on the street and all different crazy fabrics and things, which I sort of love. And
when you posted that picture of you with the pink one with the hat, you look like the Invisible Man. H.G. Wells, Claude Rains, and the Invisible Man.
Or very Grey Gardens that'll eat it. It's like,
Yeah.
is how I like to look at it.
Very,
But
very,
yeah,
very
I mean,
gardens.
we've been looking at this as sort of a good thing that could be like nature's wake up call, humanity's wake up call. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people are going to die. I worry about my parents because, as you know, Grandpa has underlying lung conditions, and he would be hard for him to survive something like this. But and I have a lot of friends who have COPD or asthma. So I
Well,
mean,
it's funny because somebody said, when I asked people for questions, they asked how Grandma and Grandpa were doing, and I remember you saying to me that they basically are just staying in and watching I Love Lucy and old shows all day.
yeah, shows that make you laugh, which is what we do. I mean, we were watching Green Acres and I Love Lucy segments, and we watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. I do not watch CNN, MSNBC, any of those propaganda. Fox News, they're all the same to me. They're all horrible, and so we don't have that in our on TV at all. If I want to get a dose of news, I go to NPR, which is actually the least propaganda of them all. So I just choose not to live in the fear culture, I think, and I choose to look at this as it's going to be the devastating part is going to be the economy afterwards, and it's going to be much worse than the virus. But I have my thoughts on that too, which I won't go into because everybody will think I'm a freak.
Well, I remember, when we lived in France, when, we would always have Euro News on. I think it was called Euro News, right? The channel where they would just show, like, without any commentary or opinion, they would just show the footage of whatever was going on in the world.
I think it's powerful and it's great. And I want facts. I don't want people's opinions sitting around a round table and spouting off, bullshit. So, which is, annoying.
That I'm a Rachel Maddow devotee, and
I'm sorry. I mean, she's fine, but I don't know.
But I agree with you. A lot of them are.
I mean, she's great in some ways, but I mean, it's all part of the propaganda machine, and I don't want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have.
Well, I know I think a part of it is. I mean, of course, I know you're very informed, but I also think part of your dislike of all of that, like the institutional people, is because you're still a punk rocker at heart, and you just love being contrary to, like, that's one of the
I was born contrary. I'm a contrarian by birth. I mean, but I've always questioned things too. I've always questioned things, and I've always been curious about things, and I just don't blindly follow the pack, and that being contrary has served me well. Well,
I think people were, I used to get the question both during the last campaign in 2016 and also during this election. People who would say, like, it's so weird that you, as in me, are a Hillary supporter and the more, because normally I think people would assume I would be more the Bernie type person to support Bernie, and you would be, being a woman and being older, you'd be like a Hillary person. But actually, you're a Bernie, diehard, and I've but also, I mean, you liked Pete too, so you're not like.
I did like Pete. I think that I liked both. Well, Bernie, I've always been a Bernie supporter, and I will always continue to be a Bernie supporter. For me, he's the only one that I believe, and I think he's authentic. Although I'll vote for anybody, I don't care if they're trans and green, I'll vote for anybody that, to keep what we have in there out. Because we do not need another 4 years of what's been going on. I think it would be devastating. It already has been. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm Bernie. Everybody knows I'm Bernie. I love him. I love watching him speak. He's the real deal. He says all the things that, I just believe, I just think he's the best option out there, though a lot of people will disagree. But like I said, I'll vote for a green, trans,
anyone.
anything.
I mean, you're not,
Before.
but I mean, I know you always said, like, you thought it was so stupid that people were, like, you know, making decisions about who to support based on, you know, gender or race or age.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it matters. I mean, I did not like Elizabeth Warren. I mean, she was a woman, but I didn't like her. I mean, I just, you know, she was annoying to me. So, you know, the kerfuffing around. Well, you know, see, it's like this. I mean, I just thought she was annoying, and I didn't believe anything she said. I just thought she was a big liar, and she proved herself to lie about a lot of things. So, you know, I wasn't going to ever vote because of gender or whatever, or race. Like I said, if they were green and they were capable and I thought they were a great leader, I'd vote for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think we no matter what, we agree that Trump is the getting rid of him.
Well, he needs to go. He does need to go. Yeah.
But so, like, going back to Thailand, you know, I think one question people were asking too is, you know, because you've talked about living there, but you've never really explained, like, the story of why you ended up going over there. I mean, I obviously know, but, like, when did the idea even come into fruition? You know, when did the idea even begin, or come to your mind?
We always loved Asia since we started coming. You know, when you were a child, a toddler, and spent you know, would come to Thailand on holidays and all that. And we were living in France. We lived, as you know, we lived in France for 24 years, 22 years, something like that. Anyway, a long time. And we went back to the States after that, expecting everything to be the same. And I think that it's like you know, the curse, as we call it, the curse of the expat, where after you live in a country for a country that you're not a citizen, well, you know, American by birth, but living away for so long and coming back, it's kind of a difficult transition. So we never really quite adapted to when you move back to LA. So I'm lucky, obviously, that I can work from where, you know, I can live anywhere. And Dad is too. So we have friends that lived in Thailand. So we thought, well, you know, we're lucky that we can have the means and we can try it. And so we started spending more time here, and we absolutely love it. I can't think of a better place to be. I love it's just every day is exciting here. It's a perfect cross between first and third worlds. The people are wonderful. It's not, you know, and even like with this being, you know, with this whole thing going on, I mean, it's not nice, but the one thing we don't have here is the hysteria, which would make it 50 million times worse. I mean, they've been through SARS and bird flu and swine flu. So they just get on with it. And there was not a lot of hoarding, you know, and panic buying and all that. So people just get on with it, and in a very cheerful way. And you know, Thailand does have its problems, but I think for the most part, you know, it's a great place to be stuck. The borders are closed. No in or out.
Closed?
Pretty much,
so, like,
yeah.
I
wouldn't know how to get to LA if
really?
If I had to. No, there's no flights.
They closed down the airports.
The airports aren't closed because there's still a few people coming in, but for the most part, international travel in and out of here you can't. I wouldn't know how to get to LA. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's definitely a cheerful place. Like, one thing I know I loved whenever I'm there when they start breaking out into song and dance in the
supermarket.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cheery place to be in the midst of all this, you know.
Well, they were out there last night at 8:00. Everybody was out there cheering all the healthcare workers, and you know, I think a lot of it has to do with the country being Buddhist. There are what they call spirit houses and shrines everywhere on street corners, and you see people stopping to pray or give thanks or burn incense, and a reminder that there's something greater than ourselves everywhere. So I love that, because I have a very similar belief system to a lot of the Buddhists living here.
Well, I wanted to ask you, speaking of that, like, I mean, both in terms of your mental, spiritual, and also physical well-being, like, what are you, I mean, I know obviously you can't do your full routine in terms of like going to yoga classes and Pilates and all that, but what are you doing at home, like to both physically and spiritually, to like stay grounded and stay healthy?
Well, I mean, I'm doing pretty much what I've always done. I have what I call my prison workout, which I have, resistance bands, the magic circle. I have light weights, and I go to, would go to Pilates twice a week or 3 times a week, but I do it all here. And, I'm out in the morning, 5 times a week on a morning walk. I try to get 10,000 steps in at least, which I do. But I always start the day, and I have for the past 4 years, and it's changed my life, with at least 15 minutes, usually 20 minutes on Audible, of a great spiritual teacher. And I think my favorite of them all is Eckhart Tolle. So there's, thousands of YouTube videos. All of his books are on Audible. All of his lectures are on Audible. I go between him, or Baba Ram Dass, or who else? Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer. There's somebody out there for everybody. Who I consider my main teacher to be Eckhart would not necessarily be somebody else's. They would be able to connect to. So I would suggest, well, that's the way I start my day. No matter where I am on tour, anywhere. I haven't missed a day in 4 years. And it used to be that I'd wake up with my coffee and go straight into the news and my emails. And so I don't do that anymore. And I haven't for years. And that's changed everything. So
well, I know you basically had a variation of almost exactly the same routine for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I also do meditate. I meditate every day.
Yeah.
Meditate every day, in addition to listening. And also, I have my Kundalini yoga practice, which is also life-changing. And there's plenty of great teachers online. JaidevSingh.com, I would suggest, and also KundaliniLive.com. But Kundalini yoga is I still, and I've gone through teacher training twice. I haven't graduated, but I can structure a class. I can teach a class if I wanted to. So, I chant every day, and I do that. So, I mean, I'm pretty much good, with I don't go out quite as much because of this. So that's the only thing that's changed. I do a lot of cooking now.
Well, I was going to ask you, what have you been cooking at home in all this?
Well, luckily across the street, we have lots of Impossible and Beyond meats. So in addition to vegan hot dogs and hamburgers, I've been making trying a lot of Indian dishes, curry dishes, making a lot of soups. I'm making split pea soup tonight, everything vegan. We've been able to buy vegan cheeses and stuff too. So I would say I'm 95% vegan. And I feel really, just that right there, I feel really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, aside from wanting to be with you guys, that's one thing I'm sad about not being in Thailand for, is at least I can have a lot of good meals.
There's good food here.
You're a good cook. That's probably one thing people don't necessarily know about you.
No. Well, I used to love, when I was drinking, I loved to cook and get smashed while I was doing it. And then I'd go pass out after
a couple of those nights.
And then I'd pass out after cooking the meal. But
I remember in France when we would sit around Like when
the
and
kitchen.
like we would have those big dinners with like tons of people drinking wine and smoking cigarettes and like I just remember that like the Pepiniere days.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like eating and drinking. I mean, it was fun. It was a good. Those were good. Those were
And all
good
the animals
times.
and everything. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
But also, I was going to ask you, like, I mean, obviously, we've been watching some of the same stuff, but like, what TV shows and movies have you seen recently that you would recommend to people that you really have liked?
Tiger King, of course.
Yeah.
Who isn't watching Tiger King? I'm obsessed.
It seems like literally every single person on the planet is watching.
I mean,
Tiger.
they have a captive audience,
Yeah.
so it's but it's really good TV.
Yeah.
A car crash television at its finest.
What episode are you on?
I'm on episode 4, so don't spoil it for me. And it's just
Beyond.
I hope what comes out of this is all that they come down on big cat owners, because it's not right at all. And it's heartbreaking. That's for sure. So I'm watching that. I've binge watched You, which I think you have to kind of get through the first 3 episodes, because it's a little bit, oh, why am I watching this? And then you can't stop. And it's just so sick.
Did you finish the second season?
Oh, yeah. I went through second season in like 2 days.
I don't think we talked about the end of the second.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for season 3, because obviously there's season 3.
I knew you'd like it. I just knew that you'd like because I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but you either you like really highbrow stuff, or you like the super like trashy, campy, tacky stuff, like You or
I liked What If. That was the best.
Exactly.
I was obsessed with that. But I mean,
so you like
I don't know if it's
you like
highbrow.
some silly stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like Larry David. I think my favorite streaming service is called the Criterion Channel, and that's all the stuff that's my taste. And I've never really cared for American film. I just don't like it. I don't like Hollywood, movies. I just don't. I mean, occasionally one comes along.
That's probably one thing people would probably find funny. Is that you and Dad will often go to movies in Thailand and literally go for popcorn and then leave after 30 minutes just to like get the
I hate everything. I can't remember the last movie we sat through. Hun, what was the last movie we sat through at the whole thing? Was it Baywatch? The Baywatch movie?
You sat through the whole thing?
What was the last movie we sat through?
Tell Dad to say hi.
Parasite,
No,
yes.
Huh?
Parasite?
Oh, Parasite, which I hated.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolute shit.
Yeah.
I just thought,
I'm
sorry, but we predicted, of course, this is going to win Best Picture because people have to say they love it. Well, I didn't love it. I thought it was shit. Let's see. What have I liked?
Did you like The Kingmaker? Did you finish that? You watched that?
I thought that was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah. I thought that was amazing. And Criterion Channel's great because they have old movies, they have foreign films, which I do like. I've always liked foreign films. I've always preferred them to American films, but there are some great American films, of course, but just not very many.
What books have you been reading?
Right now I'm obsessed with this woman, Dervla Murphy, who was and she's still alive, an Irish traveler, and she rode her bicycle from Dublin to Delhi through Afghanistan in the 60s.
Wow.
And she's written a lot of travel books, and she's considered like one of the best travel writers that's ever lived. So I'm reading her. I'm reading, what else am I reading? I'm reading my autobiography.
What?
Because I thought I need to go back to it because of this Carlisle, the Carlisle run that it got postponed, and it'll be postponed for later in the year. But I thought what I would do is put that into a storybook format and make it like a fairy tale. So without going too much into it. So I needed to reread my book, and it's taken me 3 months, and I'm 3/4 of the way done because it makes my stomach hurt. So I have to stop.
Are you writing notes?
Yeah, I've sort of trying to encapsulate the book into very, very, it's been hard into to encapsulate the book appropriate for a show that focuses more on the music. So it's basically the story of my life put to every single song that I've ever recorded. So
every single song?
Not every single song, because that would take like 3 days to perform.
Well, and by the way,
people would get bored shitless.
I was laughing hysterically again, just thinking the other day about when you said, because people will often, like, some of the questions I got were people asking, like, what, like, the details of, like, what the song from that movie, Mannequin. They were asking some question about, like, some.
I don't even remember that song.
But what's hysterical is, like, you don't even remember, like.
I don't remember a lot of songs that I've recorded.
I played you, remember when I played you the video for the Hercules song? You were like, I have no recollection of singing that song or doing that video. I was like, how can you not remember that? But you didn't.
Well, there's a lot that I don't remember, unfortunately. But it's weird because I was telling Dad last night that going through the book, which makes my stomach hurt, I can only do like 5 pages at a time. I don't even remember a lot of the stuff I said in that book. It's like I completely erased.
You don't remember you said it when you wrote the book, or you don't remember the memory?
I don't remember that. I don't have memories of it now after I put it in the book.
You don't have memories of the event?
At the time.
Wow.
Exactly, but I don't now.
Wow. Well, then it's good you wrote the book.
I'm very good at selective memory.
Yeah. Well, it's good you wrote the book. So that's all.
Before I forgot.
Yeah, that's the name of Grandpa James Mason's book. Before I Forget.
Exactly. Before I forget. Well, I forgot it all.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, because you mentioned the Carlisle. I know you don't have exact dates yet, but you do think the shows are going to be.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. I mean, I don't want to say the exact dates. I know them, but they definitely will. It's in the fall.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know you're really excited about that, and it's something you've.
It was good because it was. I knew it was a good thing to do because, well, first of all, I saw the documentary, and I've been asked for the years, but then I saw the documentary on the Carlisle, and I thought I have to play that room because that room is historic. So, when it was actually scheduled, I have butterflies when I think about it because it's something I've never done, and it's actually challenging creatively, which, I love my work and stuff, but I also like to be challenged. And like the Mantra album I did, my last album, that was challenging. The French album was challenging. So, and this is going to be challenging.
How many people do you think will be in the band? Like, I know it's going to be acoustic, but how many?
No, it's a very small room, so it's like a 3-piece.
Wow.
It's like an acoustic storybook is what it'll be.
It's kind of like didn't you have an idea for an album like in the 90s to do like sort of an opera, like a story,
yes.
fairy tale kind of thing?
Yes, I wanted to do a fairy tale. And actually, Charlotte Caffrey, her brother Tom, Anna Warnica, we were all working on it in the 90s. And it was like a little mini opera about life. Yeah. And we worked on it. And that song, Why, that I recorded is actually from those recording sessions. Right? It was released on Demon as part of like a compilation for the Runaway Horses album, I think. Yeah. But it's a great song.
Oh, it was? Wait, say that one more time. It was released?
I think it was on the Runaway Horses compilation.
Oh, really?
Well, when they re-released it through Demon, yes.
I have to go look because I'd love to hear it again if it's on there, because it's a great song.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a really great song. I think maybe you're right. Maybe it is on there. Anyway, I'll look after this. But also, like, all the go-go stuff. Like, I know obviously the documentary is going to be released on Showtime in the next few months. But Do you think the song from the movie will be released? Or the
I hope so. It's a great new song. Everybody we know wants a new Go-Go song. So
what's it called?
it's
Zero? Is it? What's the name of the
Club
song?
Zero.
Club Zero.
Club Zero. Yeah, but it's really relevant to what's going on in the world, and but at the same time having Go-Go's humor. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be released. I mean, everything's kind of on hold. Like everybody's life is on hold right now. So I don't know. It was supposed to be the documentary theatrically released in May, and in LA and June in New York, but I don't know what's going on now because it's everything's kind of, like I said, on hold.
Do you know when the documentary is going to premiere on Showtime on TV?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything's on hold. It'll be this year. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, but like they said, they wanted to do the theatrical release before, so I don't know how that affects the Showtime release. So I'm sure we'll know in the next month or so. I think, hopefully things will get back, semi back to normal. I don't know, in the next month or so. So maybe we'll know more.
And then in terms of there's the Go-Go's, but then in terms of your music, I know you're working on a new album, right?
Right.
On new material. What is that? Because people are, of course, wondering if you're planning to release anything new.
Well, I don't want to give too many details out, but it's in English.
Yeah. Well, you've already kind of hinted, right? I mean, you put out a couple of songs. Like, didn't you release the Karen Carpenter? Was it Karen Carpenter?
That was, Superstar. That was part of the Heaven on Earth compilation. And I did a couple other songs for the Runaway Horses. But yeah, I'm working with Gabe Lopez. And I love working with Gabe because we have a really good time. We have the same music sensibility, and we're always laughing. And he makes great coffee, and I bring the chocolate, and we just sit there and we get, completely into the work, and we love it. We have a great time.
He's a great, super sweet person.
Yeah, he is. He's great. I can never get him to say anything nasty about anybody. He never ever says anything bad about anybody.
Yeah, and it's just funny because I met him in just going out in LA, being out in the scene in LA, and then I saw what a talented musician he was, and then I introduced him to you, and you guys became these great collaborators.
Yeah, he's great.
You guys have a lot of synergy.
Yes, and he's in the band for the Carlisle, by the way.
Oh, he is? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
The MD.
It's going to be amazing when that
happens. When it finally happens.
And then in terms of Animal People Alliance, what is going on with in terms of with everything going on? Like, are they able to operate right now?
Well, it's it's complicated because India's on complete shutdown. Everybody has to stay in their homes, but millions of people don't have homes, which, makes it, it's going to be interesting. But of course, a lot of people aren't educated, and they believe a lot of what they're told. And there was a rumor going around that the virus was spread through dogs and cats. So there was the animal abuse and all that. The cases coming in from throwing acid on dogs and like beating dogs. It's increased. I don't know. Significantly. So they are out on the street, a skeleton crew, because everybody's supposed to be indoors, but the government did tell everybody to please feed the street animals and to please make sure that they're not starving, which I thought was pretty unbelievable given the government, which is in office right now, which is very Trump-like. They're doing the best they can, only handling the emergency cases because of what's going on We have our shelter that we just are diversifying into northern Thailand. And a lot of people who get pets and don't realize that it actually takes money to take care of them properly are dumping their pets. And there's also the dog eating culture in northern Thailand. So, they're still eating dogs there. So we have our hands full there too. So if anybody is interested,
Yeah.
I know we're not, none of us, we're all in the same boat as far as finance, making donations or whatever. But if you can manage to make even a small donation to APA, animalpeoplealliance.net, it's appreciated because there's a lot of suffering right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you did the yoga event in LA and they were listing in the video, they had some of the statistics of like how many animals you guys have already been able to help.
Well, it must be about 15,000 right now. So
unbelievable.
Because it was 10,000 like a year and a half ago, so it must be at least 15,000 now. But we are at the same time of serving the street animals. We're also providing employment to people who fall or are at risk of falling below the poverty line. So, or also women who may have been trafficked or, just in vulnerable circumstances, domestic abuse or whatever. So, the Animal People Alliance mission is twofold. So it's animalpeoplealliance.net if you want more information.
And what's the Instagram account?
Animal People Alliance.
Animal People Alliance, yeah. I mean, I follow them.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I'm really happy that you were my first guest for Duke's Download. And does Dad not want to say hello really quickly? He said he would.
Dad, do you want to say hi?
Say hello to everybody.
He's
very
shy.
quickly. Oh, okay.
He's shy.
Right. Well, he's been live.
Oh, he's coming.
Good job.
Do you approve?
Love you guys. You did a great job.
Thank you. I loved your commentary in the comments during the interview.
What comments?
He was leaving comments like.
Oh, I didn't. I can't really see. So, I can see you.
He was just saying, "Love you guys," and he was cheering us on. But I love you very much, and stay safe. And
we will.
Thank you for doing this with me. I love you.
It's my pleasure, and I just say, everybody, just keep your spirits up. It will pass, and I do really think that this is a big wake-up call for humanity. And it's nature's way of kicking us in the ass, and it's going to. It's going to have a lot of devastation economically, but I think long term, it's going to be a great thing, a great wake up call for humanity. And if we look at it that way, it's going to be a good thing. I mean, can I say also that all these, if you believe, like I do believe, that this did come from eating animals that you're not supposed to eat. The reality is that 90% of the epidemics this world has seen come from eating animals. And animal agriculture is really dirty. And, I'm sure some of it isn't. I mean, I'm not a militant vegan, and I don't, criticize people for eating meat. But I will say this, is that if you consider yourself a true progressive while you're tucking into a hamburger, you got to rethink your values, because even with taking away the, as far as like meat, eating adrenaline and hormones that you're not supposed to ingest, that animal agriculture is the #1 cause of greenhouse gases on the planet. So for that reason alone, I think it's a pretty good, and also, this is yet another, we've had SARS, avian flu, swine flu, bird flu, whatever. And this is yet another example of that. So I hope that this, and I know in China that people are really rethinking the way that they eat. And I hope that this makes everybody think twice about what they're putting in their mouth.
I think it will, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of people are, people are really waking up right now in a lot of ways. There's a.
And by the way, I'm just saying, I'm not making any rules. I'm just making a suggestion and the fact is that animal agriculture is the #1 cause of greenhouse gases. So take that. There you go. Like I say, no judgments, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah. You're never
Okay.
never afraid to speak truth. But
I'm not.
I love you, and thank you for doing this.
Love you too. And I'll see you later, and everybody be safe. Mwah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.